What do I like about sailing? I suppose that I like how it can represent so many aspects of life. It can be the greatest joy, but it can also plummet me into a whirling ocean of chaos. It can bring me to paradise, but it can also remind me how fear exists. The good times are good in their own right, but the difficult times constantly strengthen and shape me. Sailboats are both a test and a reward, and on this crossing, Magic Carpet was both.
I'm ALADINO. I'm both Swiss and Italian and a boat builder by profession.
And I'm Maya, a Canadian artist and sailor. This is our home, Magic Carpet. She's a Vinda 32, though she's only 28 feet long. And 4 years ago, she fell 20 feet off a crane onto concrete. Insurance wrote her off, but ALADINO bought her, fixed her, and now she's our home. Our mission? To sail around the world as slowly as possible. Welcome to Sailing Magic Carpet. We left the coast of France on a Saturday morning. With an average cruising speed of about 4 knots, we figured we'd reach the northern tip of Sardinia in just under 55 hours. It was grey when we left, and the sea state was still choppy from high winds the day before. We motored out of the Gulf de Lyon, a busy industrial bay, before the sun came out and we raised the sails. Our bow pointed straight for Sardinia as the wind pushed us along from behind. We want to get to Sicily, but we decided to spend at least a week exploring Sardinia and waiting for our new stove to be forwarded on to us. The first evening on watch was calm and beautiful. My friend Marina and I even played a song that we had written together many years before.
Okay, ready? As we set out to sea, leaving worlds behind to be, as we become free, far away, and the rhythm began, boom swinging and fiddles in hand, as we played our song, the waves played along, scenes we read of in books, and now that we look of breezes and gales, of wind in old sails, the world on a chart and the world in our hearts. I remember those times, your beautiful mind, and now we must go just like we said so, as we set out to sea, leaving worlds behind to be, as we become free, far away, and the rhythm began, boom swinging and fiddles in hand, as we played our song, the waves played along.
I went to bed that night filled with a strange mix of calm and nervousness. The evening had been beautiful, but the weather forecast predicted a little bit more wind picking up around midnight. It was nothing too severe, just about 15 to 20 knots, which would push us quickly to Sardinia. But nonetheless, it had been 8 months since last time I sailed, and it always takes a moment to get used to it once again. ALADINO took the first watch, Marina and Mitchell graciously took the middle of the night watch, and I would take the 4 a.m. watch. I went to bed as soon as the sun set, but I didn't sleep. The motion of the boat got steadily more and more violent. When I came up on deck at 4 a.m., the previously gentle swell had turned into angry white-capped breakers which surrounded our boat. Needless to say, I was more focused on steering than on filming, but ALADINO managed to get some GoPro footage later in the morning. My first few moments on watch were tense. Marina handed me the tiller, shouting, "I can't let go, you have to grab it from me." As soon as it was in my hands, I could feel the boat tugging violently as waves and wind buffeted it around. With a double-reefed main and a partially furled headsail, we were making 7 to 8 knots, speeds that we've never hit before on Magic Carpet. I've read many books by sailors about guiding a boat in front of a huge swell. Many of them talk about hearing the breakers behind you like a sixth sense and knowing intuitively when to pull on the tiller and surf down its back in a straight line, accelerating forward with stunning speed. I've always wondered if I'd be able to do the same. Would I find this sixth sense? Would I be able to hear the waves and predict the motion and find a rhythm with the tiller? But when placed into the moment, it seemed impossible to do anything else. The wind blew any other thought out of my mind. My eyes focused on the Genoa, every muscle in my body tensed, but my mind only had one thought: keep on course. I've talked before about the meditative qualities of guiding a boat in a big sea, but once again I was reminded of this. My mind calms down automatically, even if my heart is racing. I feel the boat, the wind, I pull and release the tiller, I listen as the waves rumble beneath me and push me forward. At one moment, as we surfed down the back of a wave, I glanced over at our speed, 10 knots. According to the hull speed calculations of Magic Carpet, we should never be able to go that fast. ALADINO even noticed 11.4 knots later on, which turned out to be our top recorded speed. I felt adrenaline course through me, but the meditative state didn't break. A wave would lift us, I'd pull the tiller, would drop down, I'd release the tiller. Lift, pull, fall, release. Lift, pull, fall, release. Stay on course. Stay on course. But as the day progressed, the waves lessened, and by the evening we were once again enjoying a beautiful sunset on a relatively calm sea. Hey Marina.
Hi!
Tell us the story of today, how it began and how it progressed.
Well, last night the wind picked up and the swells also picked up. We hit 11 knots going down one of the waves.
On Magic Carpet.
11 knots. And that we don't even know if that's our record. We're gonna check later.
Yeah.
And then we took our shifts and each one was a story in itself. We were surfing down the waves, up the waves, and the moon was beautiful. It was very windy and wet, and Magic Carpet and all of us got very wet. It's calmed down now, but it took a long time. It's 9 p.m. now, 8:30, and yeah, it only calmed down like 4 hours ago, really calmed down. And we still have some swells out here hanging out with us, so it's been eventful. There's been some bouts of seasickness. There's been, yeah, that's kind of sums it up.
Excellent. Thank you for the summary, Marini.
Yeah, no worries.
Mitchell, what are your thoughts on the day?
It started out a little rough. Seas were a bit choppy.
Was it a good introduction to the world of sailing for you?
It was an introduction. No, it was wonderful. This feels wonderful now, but I think you have to go through some not so great parts to get to the good bits. And
Absolutely.
here we are.
Sea legs.
Yeah.
True for sailing and life in general. Good. Deanie, what are your thoughts on the day?
Super beautiful now, but it certainly wasn't. There were a few rough patches initially, but you've done a super awesome job, all of you, and yeah, Magic Carpet actually was hella fast, and we all did well, and we're arriving tomorrow morning.
Yahoo! And now, Deanie is preparing some creme brulees. Because
Trying.
we are over our seasickness.
Fingers crossed.
Clearly.
Whoa.
Could go to bed. Sunlight is pretty fantastic though.
The day according to Maya. Yes, my spirits have returned to me now that my stomach has also settled down a little bit, which is a most welcome break because seasickness drains the will to live out of one pretty quickly. So now I'm feeling much better about life and all things in general. The boat is moving in a much nicer fashion. The autopilot is able to take care of the tiller, which is great because it was a battle and a half taking care of the tiller this morning. My arms and my back were quite sore after 3 hours holding on to that. So I am glad to sit here in the cockpit and relax in preparation for going to bed as the sun sets. That's all for now. Marina and Mitchell, you've got first watch?
We have first watch until like 1-ish, and then Maya's gonna go from 1 to 4.
That's me.
And then we'll be approaching coastline, which I know I've been there before, so I take over the last shift and
Take us safely into the anchorage.
exactly, that's the plan.
Then we all wake up.
And then we all
And
go to bed.
rejoice.
Rejoice.
By the time night fell, the wind had disappeared, so we motored the last few nautical miles to Sardinia. Good morning, Deanie!
Good morning.
How was your watch?
That was alright. It's pretty nice. I was up since watching the sunrise.
We are now arriving to Sardinia after a 2-night crossing. We spent the last few hours motoring actually because the wind died down. It's kind of funny because the first night we were skirting down the back of waves at up to 11 knots, and then the second night we had the motor on. But anyway, that's how it goes, and now we are arriving and it looks beautiful.
We're about to go through a very narrow, dangerous passage.
It's so weird looking down into the water and just seeing all of these rocks below you, and they look so close. And I know we've done this passage before and it's been fine, but it's always like a little bit nerve-wracking to see rocks so close below your keel. But all good, we're through the passage now, and just like last time, with absolutely no worries. And so we arrived, safe and sound, finding it suddenly strange to not be moving anymore. But this is sailing. There are turquoise bays and there are storms at night, and while the turquoise bays are paradise, the storms at night have some mysterious ability to quickly shape me into a version of myself I'd most like to be, strong, steadfast, calm in the face of chaos. And perhaps that's why sailors keep returning to the ocean. There's a lot you can find when there's absolutely nothing on the horizon.